Hello and welcome to my next video in my series about the Dark Eye core rules, and we're going to talk about magic. And for magic, the first thing that is explained here, if you want to use magic, you can use spells and you can use rituals. The difference is simply a ritual is something that takes way longer to perform. A spell only needs an action, 2 actions, 3 actions, or something like that. Sometimes really a lot of actions, but you need minutes or seconds to cast a spell. And a ritual is something that is within hours to perform. It can need several hours to perform a ritual. And a ritual is something that is influenced greatly by the environment you cast in the ritual in. For example, a certain place may be very good to cast a certain ritual. The star constellations may have influence on the ritual. The way you are dressing, how you prepare, the side where you are holding the ritual. All these things have an effect on ritual, and you usually use them to make your ritual more easy to cast. That's not the case, or not that much the case, for spells. So that's the difference between a ritual and a spell. But the most things you're going to cast are spells. There are a lot of spells in the Dark Eye, and also rituals, but way more spells, and because spells are easy and quick to cast. So to cast a spell, you have to use astral energy, also for ritual. You have a pool of astral energy, and every spell costs a certain amount of astral energy to cast. And if you don't have enough astral energy to pay for a spell, you cannot cast the spell, or you can cast the spell, but it will simply fail. So and probably use up the rest of your astral energy in that situation. So the next thing explained here is a list of spell classes. A spell class is my translation. They probably call it something different, I guess, in the rules. A spell class, I think we go through the spell classes, and I think this will explain what a spell class is. Every spell has one a spell class associated, or is associated with a spell class. For example, the first spell class is anti-magic spells. That is, you disrupt spells, you make it harder to cast for other people to cast spells, or you simply prevent people from casting spells. Another spell class is demonic spells. They deal somehow with demons, or demon material, or the sphere of the demons, and anything that is from the 7th sphere. Then we have influence spells like mind control or something like that. Elemental spells, which like control the elements or call elemental spirits, invocations, and these things. Then healing spells. I don't know how to translate this. Hellsicht. It, for example, lets you improve your senses. You can see sharper. You may be able to see through a wall. It may create senses you don't have, like you can sense the feelings of someone, or you can mind read or something like that. Then we have can read it. It is, have to look it up. Illusion. Yeah, illusion spells. You can create illusion. You smell illusion, a visual illusion, a sound illusion, something like that. Then sphere spells. This is a bit difficult to explain because it is based on the lore of the world. Basically, the universe in the Dark Eye is organized in spheres. For example, there's a sphere where the humans live. And separated from that sphere, there is a sphere where the gods live, and there are different other spheres, and there is a sphere for demons and such, and the sphere spells let you somehow access some of the spheres. You can open a gate to the sphere, you can summon something from a sphere, you can send something to a sphere, you can travel the spheres, stuff like that. Then we have object spells. This is manipulating inanimate objects. You can somehow change the shape, or you may even be able to communicate with an object, and things like that. Then telekinesis. This is moving objects around or influencing objects physically, but by usage of spells with not actually touching them. And then transformation spells. These are transformation spells for living beings. So you could turn someone into a toad, or you could give yourself simply a haircut, a magical haircut, and stuff like that. These are the spell classes. There are a few more spell classes than listed here, and these are only the ones you will simply use, which are useful and which are common, and for which there are spells in the core rules. In the 4th edition, there were hundreds of different spells, and there were some really exotic, which were more like for adventure hooks or something. For example, there is a spell class Temporal, which lets you manipulate time. You can't learn these spells because they are the temporal spells are considered lost spells, but there may be very rare NPCs NPCs which will know these spells, or they may be someone from time long ago when these spells were still known, and he might travel through time or send you through time. There has been an adventure that worked like that, where you basically were summoned to a place by a very powerful mage and something like that. And as I said, there were a lot of more spells for a lot of more different spellcaster types, and I expect those spells to come back, and a lot of them to come back. That is my guess. So next, the different steps, the detailed description of casting spells, and I think I'm going to make an extra video about that, about the rest, about casting spells, and I will end this video here. So if you have any questions, then feel free to ask, comments, but for this video, that's it. Bye.